Orlando, Florida, known as the theme park capital of the world, attracting visitors from across the globe eager to experience everything the city has to offer. So many different parks to choose from, one major issue has become increasingly noticeable: crowds. As parks continue to introduce new attractions and experiences, it raises the question, is it still possible to experience every attraction in a single day? So to find out, we're launching a new series here where we visit every major park in Orlando and attempt to ride every single ride and see every single show in just one day. But to keep things fair, we're setting some ground rules. Rule number 1, no paid skip the line features are allowed. Single rider lines are an exception since they do not require any additional cost. Rule number 2, all attraction means every ride and show performed in a theater. So street performances and nighttime spectaculars do not count. Rule number 3, the day must be treated like a normal park visit, meaning at least one meal break is required and no sprinting or running is allowed between any attractions. With these rules in place, we aim to determine whether a typical guest can truly experience everything in a park within a single day. So to kick things off, I decided to start at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Often considered a half-day park, it features 7 rides and 4 theater shows, totaling 11 attractions. But can they all be done in one operating day? Well, let's find out. We arrived at the park at 7:50 a.m., just 10 minutes before opening. That day, Animal Kingdom's operating hours were from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., giving us 11 hours to complete 11 attractions. It sounded simple, at least that's what we thought. As soon as the gates opened at 8 a.m., we headed straight to Pandora to rope drop Avatar Flight of Passage. Despite arriving early, the line already stretched all the way back to the Africa section of the park. I assumed the wait wouldn't be too bad since we were among the first in, but I was completely wrong.
So obviously, the first ride of the day has to be Flight of Passage. It's always going to have the longest wait. It's always going to be the main thing in Animal Kingdom. So if we knock this out first, it's going to make the rest of the day a lot easier. Even though it's a big sacrifice, the fact that it's 8:30 and we're only this far in line and we got here at 8. But it'll be well worth it for the rest of the day.
We ended up waiting 2 hours and didn't get off the ride until 10 a.m. Which, it was great to experience Flight of Passage again, but I was already worried about how the rest of the day would go.
Alright, so it is 10 a.m. already. So we've already spent 2 hours in the park, waited an hour and 45 minutes for Flight of Passage. Not an ideal start to the day, but luckily, that should be the only big line today. Everything else should be a breeze. And we only have 9 attractions left. So since we're in Pandora, we have to hit up Navi River Journey next. And after that, everything should be a breeze. So let's go knock that out.
Next, we got right in line for Navi River Journey, the other attraction in Pandora. With the posted wait time of 45 minutes, I figured we'd be done in about an hour and could easily move on. Instead, the wait time doubled to an hour and a half. And to make matters worse, the main animatronic wasn't even working, making the ride feel quite underwhelming. By the time we exited Navi River Journey, it was already noon, and we had only completed 2 attractions. With just 7 hours left and 9 more attractions to go, things weren't looking great. But on top of that, we were starting to get hungry, so we made a much-needed stop at Stuli Canteen for lunch.
Alright, another non-ideal wait. An hour and a half for Navi River Journey, advertised 45 minutes, so we waited double. It is now 11:45. Park closed at 7, so plenty of time to do the other 8 attractions here. Luckily, the worst of the worst is out of the way, so we should have no issue experiencing the rest of the day. But I've said that before, so let's see what happens.
After eating, we felt re-energized and ready to take on the rest of the park. So we made our way over to Africa, only to find that Kilimanjaro Safari had a 90-minute wait. This then put us in a tough spot. The Festival of the Lion King show over there had just started, so we couldn't catch the next performance for another hour. So with no other immediate option, we had no choice but to endure on It's Tough to Be a Bug. Let me be clear, I hate this show, if you couldn't already tell.
So we've reached that point in the day where everything's gonna have a long wait. So now we're stuck with really only seeing the shows and knocking those out. This show, It's Tough to Be a Bug, I hate with a dear passion. This may be the last ever time and the only time you'll ever see me on It's Tough to Be a Bug. So I hope y'all like this video because this will be the only time you're getting it.
Anything with 4D effects is an automatic no for me. No matter the theme, doesn't matter. The fact that it's closing next month is the best news I've heard in a while. And hey, you know what? If this video gets 500 likes by closing week, I will torture myself and write it all day before it shuts down.
We ask that all honorary bugs remain seated so the beetles, maggots, and cockroaches may exit safely.
Why?
Well, after that traumatizing experience, I decided to knock out some of the park's other shows. We made our way back to Africa for Festival of the Lion King, and I genuinely love this show. The production, it's top tier, the performers, incredibly talented, and the animatronics, always impressive. But as amazing as it was, I couldn't help but stress about time. By the time the show ended, it was already 1:30 p.m., and we were only on attraction number 5. Time was slipping away fast. Thankfully, I knew the next attraction would have zero wait, the Wildlife Express train. This is a ride that takes guests to Rafiki's Planet Watch, which doesn't have many actual attractions, but since the train itself counts, we had to do it.
I didn't know this. 5, halfway, finally, at 1:45. That took way too long to get halfway. All right, so it is currently 1:54. It is not looking good. I thought we'd be done by now, but we are actually only halfway through. So we're on the wildlife train. Still got 5 attractions left, including 2 shows. Luckily, the lines for the other rides should be nowhere near as long, but we're moving on with the day. We'll see what comes next. Looks like next we're gonna have to see another show, and hopefully after that, wait times will start to die down. I hate Disney.
Luckily, we were able to walk right on, complete a full lap, and check another attraction right off the list. You know, at this point, I started to feel hopeful again, as we made our way to go see our next show, Feathered Friends in Flight.
All right, 2:30 now. We're in show number 3, attraction 6. This is Feathered Friends in Flight. I've never seen this show, so it adds on some variety of the day, but time is going quick. We only have around 4.5 hours till park close, which sure doesn't sound a lot, but it took us 4 hours to do the first 4 attractions here. So hopefully we'll be down on time in this show. I hate Disney.
I had never watched this show before, so I went in with no expectations, and honestly, I was pleasantly surprised. The birds made the entire performance feel almost unscripted, even though everything was clearly planned. It was a perfect mix of funny and fascinating, and seeing massive birds, colorful parrots, and even a bald eagle up close was just incredible. Side note, if you're ever visiting Animal Kingdom, I actually highly recommend you check out this show.
It's a necessity for a day like this.
We have now completed 3 of the 4 required shows, with just 1 left. I figured we should knock it out right away, so we made our way over to the Theater of the Wild to go see Finding Nemo, The Big Blue and Beyond. Once again, this show delivered with amazing performers and top-tier production, but as great as it was, I was really starting to panic. These long shows were eating up massive chunks of our day, and by the time we got out, it was already 4 p.m. Time was running out fast. Thankfully, up next was Expedition Everest, a ride known for moving guests through the queue quickly. The single rider line was unusually long that day, so I opted for the regular standby queue, which turned out to be the right call. The wait was just over 30 minutes, and somehow, we even snagged a front row ride. That adrenaline rush was exactly what I needed, and we had an absolute blast on Animal Kingdom's wildest coaster.
So ride number 8. 2 left after this, Safari and Dinosaur. But at least we're nearing down the final times. 4:38, we're on Everest. Let's hope we can get this done quick. Let's go.
Feeling pumped, we made our way over to Kali River Rapids, only to remember...
Kali River Rapids, a big attraction here at Animal Kingdom, is close to refurbishment, so there's no way we can ride it today. But to make this video completely fair, we're going to add 40 minutes to whatever time we finish with today, because line for this ride is normally around 30 to 40 minutes, so it's just fair that we add it just to make it as fair as possible. But with that, let's head to the safari.
So now at this point, we're down to 2 rides, Kilimanjaro Safari and Dinosaur. We headed back to Africa and got in line for Kilimanjaro Safari because that ride will close at 5:30. When we got there, it had a 50-minute posted wait. Since the safari itself lasts over 20 minutes, I knew this was the moment our challenge was about to fall apart. Even if everything went perfectly, by the time we got to Dinosaur, it would be well past 6:20. Meaning we'd run out of time. My hopes of completing every attraction in one day were slipping away. While on the safari, I tried my best to enjoy the ride, but I couldn't shake the nerves. The fact that Animal Kingdom, a park often considered a half-day destination, was pushing me to the limit. It made me question everything. If I was struggling to complete this park in a full day, how was I supposed to tackle the others? Would this challenge even be possible at the other parks with way more attractions? But then by some miracle, we got off the safari. It was 5:50 p.m.
It is 5:52, meaning we have to get to Dinosaur by 6:20, and technically we'll complete the challenge because with the added on 40 minutes, as long as we're in line before park close, which will technically be 7, then technically you did every ride in the operating day. So you just gotta get to Dinosaur, and this will be a success. So let's get over there as soon as
The
possible.
posted wait time had been 50 minutes, but we only ended up waiting 20, meaning we had 25 minutes left to walk from Kilimanjaro Safari to Dinosaur. Now, Dinoland USA was across the park. In fact, that's probably the longest walk you could do in the park. But good news is, Disney allows guests to get in line up until the very last minute before park closing. So as long as we made it to Dinosaur by 6:20 p.m., the challenge would be a success. We made it over, and against all odds, we got in line at 6:05 p.m., a full 15 minutes before the deadline. I couldn't believe it. After all the stress, all the setbacks, all the moments where I thought we wouldn't make it, we had done it.
Hello there.
And to top it all off, we ended the day with an incredible ride on Dinosaur, one of my favorite attractions in all of Walt Disney World. As we walked out of the park, the Tree of Life projections lit up the night, and a huge sense of victory washed over me. We had proven that it is possible to experience every attraction at Disney's Animal Kingdom in a single day without any additional add-ons. That said, there are definitely some key takeaways from this challenge. First, we did not get there as early as we should have. There was early entry that day, but we crossed the gates right at 8 a.m., meaning we weren't there for that exact moment the rope dropped, which allowed a massive crowd to get ahead of us for Flight of Passage. Second, I completely miscalculated the best strategy. We actually had saved Pandora for last instead of rope dropping it. It would have saved us way more time. In hindsight, starting with Kilimanjaro Safari and ending the day with Flight of Passage and Navi River Journey would have significantly lowered our wait times towards the end of the day. In fact, based on my past visits, I can usually ride both within 90 minutes at night, whereas we spent 4 hours tackling Pandora in the morning. That delay really set us back for the entire day. Another factor? The crowds. It was a Thursday during President's Day week, meaning wait times were definitely higher than usual, but knowing that, we still managed to complete the challenge. Even on a busy day, it proves that it's definitely possible, and with the right strategy, you can probably do it even faster. So we now know we can do every single ride at Animal Kingdom in a day. And that's a wrap. If you enjoyed this video and want to see this series continue, be sure to drop a like and comment your thoughts. Do you think I stand a chance of completing all the other Orlando parks in a day? Well, let me know. This has been Hunter from Theme Park Hunting, and I will see you all later.